Now, what's the challenge in terms of monetizing all this? I mean, again, it seems to be simple when you're selling something in a box.
I think that's a question that sort of plagues all of media. But one of the things I'm really pleased with is it seems that consumers understand that the entertainment value of a game is worth paying for. And so, generally speaking, I think games fit two categories. Pay first, play later, when you go to retail to buy a product. And, implicit in that is what's behind the brand. And EA has some of the most important brands in video game industry, whether it's The Sims or SimCity or it's Madden or it's Battlefield or Medal of Honor. The box means something, so you can trust what's behind it. You're willing to write a $59 credit card receipt or a check or cash for it. The other model is play first, pay later, which is what happens with Playfish on Facebook. And so a consumer will play for a while, but find that there are things that they can't get to in the game unless they pony up a little bit of money. And that's a very user-friendly way for that next 800 million consumers to come into the industry. They're not as familiar with the products. They gain familiarity and then seek to pay in order to advance themselves in these games. They've already had value delivered. And, I think it'd almost be a fool's errand for me to estimate precisely how much one business model is going to prevail over another. What I can say is they're working well in concert. And this overall concept of the more direct-to-consumer digital is the fastest growing, but of course it's the most recent, so it's going to be fast growing. What balance it reaches, in the next year or two, I think the industry from packaged goods will be about the same total dollars as the free-to-play first and then pay later model. So right now they're getting to sort of a balance mark. Probably sometime in 2010 and 2011 will be about the same. Where it goes from here, will the more direct-to-consumer digital models prevail as being the largest part of the business? Will a big innovation, hopefully led by Electronic Arts on the packaged goods side, drive staggering new growth there? I think it starts with each type of entertainment has its appropriate business model. So when you play a product like The Sims 3, which we introduced this past April, there is more entertainment on that disc than most people will get to in half a year. It's a staggering amount of content. And that content is very efficiently delivered on a disc, and it's very happily purchased by the consumer because they know what they're getting. Does the business model need to change there in a dramatic way? Probably no. Might it over time? Most certainly yes. But, I think the key here is to make great products, high quality, high innovation, and then help the consumer get to it. I don't want to make the mistake that maybe some in the music industry might have made some years ago when they said, you must buy collections of songs by the dozen. It was very clear from consumer behavior that's not the way they wanted to buy it. And I think they sort of kept on that path to their own peril. We want to make sure that we provide consumers choice so they can get to the entertainment experience they want in the way they want, when they want.
And the new model also, I suppose, insulates you from some of the outside, I'm trying to think of the right word to use, the outside challenges of someone like a Walmart who's going to sell some of this product as a loss leader and probably drive you crazy, with what they're going to do with it when they're going to come back with some of that pricing, what they're going to ask you to give.
Well, actually, I think it's worth sort of defending the retailer here for a second because Walmart has been a spectacularly good partner for us for a number of years, and they continue to be, as has a GameStop, a Target, or a Best Buy, and they're comparable companies around the world. And you could argue that the argument you just made. I really wouldn't. I wouldn't state that. And it's not just sort of political correctness. The reality is that a lot of consumers today will continue to want to buy products on a retail shelf. They're there already. It's really convenient. 6 gigabytes of content, 7 gigabytes of content on a shiny disk is a really efficient way to get it to them. And the reason Walmart likes it is because for a lot of consumers, the most important day of the year in August, or even for the entire year, is the day Madden ships. And they're going to line up and go to Walmart or Best Buy or GameStop or Target to buy that product. And they're likely to buy other things at the same time. So Walmart or any other retailer benefits from carrying a very unique product that has no substitute. There is no substitute for The Sims. There is no substitute for Madden. And so it's a win-win scenario. We bring consumers into the store who will in turn buy more things from these very good retail partners of ours. And day to day, when consumers are in those stores to buy other things, whether it's a gallon of milk, a blank DVD, a new DVR, or whatever it is they're looking to buy, they'll also walk by the game section and pick up a game or two from Electronic Arts. So as much as I talk about direct-to-consumer, is a growth area, and it is. The partnership that we have with retail is really strong.
And how important is it that you remain, pretty much agnostic in terms of the consoles you support, the formats you support? I mean, Madden, for example, I'm still a PC player, so I don't get those updates anymore. But you do service all of the major consoles.
Look, I think the way we view it is this: for every piece of hardware that's manufactured, whether that hardware is a handheld from Nintendo, an iPhone from Apple, a Pre from Palm, a new type of PC, a new controller or interface, there's an audience that owns that piece of hardware, and there's a number of people behind it, and then there's the question of whether for that piece of hardware we can build a better entertainment experience or not. And one of the things that we tried to do some years ago was we made 11-on-11 football for the original generation of cellular phones. The screen was this big, and you could actually play 11-on-11 if you wore really good specs. And to be honest with you, it wasn't all that entertaining. For a small core, it was. And I think we didn't map the entertainment experience to the device. We later simplified it, and basically, European football became kick on goal initially. Now, new generation of handsets, screens as big as the first TV I used to own. And you can do 11-on-11, have it be really compelling. And so the question here is, EA is generally chosen to be agnostic because we're not in the hardware business. They're not our competition. They're co-opetition, if you will. We have bits of rivalry now and then. But when we create a product that best shows off their platform, then they do better. When they create a platform that attracts an audience that is best addressed by our content, we do better. And, whether it's Sony with their new, 3D presentation that they're talking about, I mean, our games are built in 3D to begin with. And so we're in a better position to show you how glorious that can be than most any content producer. Or our stuff was made in high definition to begin with. If you're looking for that look, my TV, how cool it can look, when you bring your high definition TV home this holiday, I would encourage you to put Mass Effect in, which is a role-playing game from BioWare. It looks as good as a movie from Pixar or DreamWorks. It's moving in real time and you're controlling the characters. And for people that haven't played a game like this in a while, it's stunning. It's surprising. And in many ways, you wouldn't think it's even possible. How can a CPU move things that well? And yet, we're at that point in technology where we get the delight of that type of experience, pretty often.
Is Wall Street